When most people think of Mario, they think of the Mushroom Kingdom, Goombas, Bowser, and Princess Peach. But there's another Mario trilogy, one where Princess Peach isn't the one being rescued. Aliens invade strange kingdoms, and Mario fights enemies in submarines and airplanes. It was smaller, stranger, and played on a screen with no backlight, and somehow, it helped make the Game Boy a success. Aloha, my name is Mike, and I'm a former US Navy Seavey. I'd like to welcome you to the Gaming Road Warrior channel where we talk about games from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Today we're going to take a look at a trilogy of games that expanded a beloved video game franchise and helped define the Game Boy. The Super Mario Land Trilogy. Released between 1989 and 1994, the Super Mario Land games helped make the Game Boy a success. By shrinking down classic Super Mario gameplay for a handheld, this trilogy also helped Nintendo maintain its dominance throughout the 90s and chart a course for the future of the company. In this episode, we're going to take a look at each game in the Super Mario Land trilogy, its development, history, story, characters, and gameplay, so we can see how much the red and blue plumber has evolved. So hop into the plane, grab a power-up, and hit the throttle to the gaming wasteland, because we're jumping into Super Mario Land. I first got to play Super Mario Land thanks to my best friend Kevin. You probably heard of his name in my other videos. I remember him bringing his Game Boy to school in middle school back when recess suddenly lost all the fun stuff. Yeah, like no monkey bars, no swings, no slides. Kevin let our little group of friends take turns playing on the tennis courts. At first, I was a bit weirded out. Mario looked really small, and the creatures on the tiny screen were hard to make out. But we were having so much fun that the bell ringing for class completely snuck up on us. The next day, I asked Kevin if I could borrow it. In exchange, I offered to let him borrow as many of my games as he wanted. Of course, he agreed, and I went home with his Game Boy along with Super Mario Land and Tetris. At the time, my NES was at my Aunt Betty's house. If you watched my NES Christmas video, you know why. So this was my first real chance to dive into Mario on a handheld. Playing in my bedroom, I had an absolute blast, especially the first time I got the airplane. I couldn't believe Mario was suddenly a shooter. The Egyptian levels with the Sphinx were also incredible. Even if the bouncing ball power-up felt strange compared to the classic Fireball, Mario being so small still bothered me a little, but I figured that was just part of me playing on a handheld. Honestly, I couldn't complain. This thing completely destroyed any handhelds I had. Especially my two Tiger Electronics games, Double Dragon and Simon's Quest. One of the coolest commercials I ever saw was also for this game, so let's take a look at that.
The Martians are coming! Yes, and Mario is your only hope! Team up with him in Super Mario Land! Guide him on the Nintendo Game Boy! Challenge the mysteries and terrors of ancient Egypt! Battle all the horrors of the deep! Master lots of weird worlds to give Mario a happy ending and make your world a better place! Super Mario Land and other exciting games for Game Boy! Nintendo! Now you're playing with power! Portable power!
Alright, enough nostalgia. Let's dig into the history of this game. The very first Super Mario Land launched in Japan on April 21st, 1989. With an American release following in July, it was one of the 5 launch titles for the Game Boy in North America and originally started development as a system pack-in game. The role eventually went to Tetris, which honestly isn't a bad trade. Tetris is awesome. Super Mario Land was developed eternally by Nintendo's R&D 1 team. While it was the 5th entry in the Super Mario series overall, it was the first Mario game created without Shigeru Miyamoto's direct involvement. Instead, the game was produced by Gunpei Yokoi and directed by Satoru Okada, the same duo behind Metroid, Kid Icarus, and the Game Boy itself. So even without Miyamoto, the game was still in very good hands. Mario was already a massive icon by 1989, and that worked in the game's favor. Who wouldn't want to play Mario on the bus? Still, without Miyamoto's guidance, Super Mario Land ends up feeling a bit strange. To fit the Game Boy's tiny screen, the developers had to shrink everything down. But they also took some creative liberties. Koopa shells explode when stomped. The Fire Flower gives Mario rubber balls instead of fireballs. And entire levels turn into vehicle-based shooter stages. Yeah, that's weird for a Mario game, but somehow it works. Another major departure in the setting, instead of the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario explores Sarasa Land, ruled by Princess Daisy in her first ever appearance. She's kidnapped by a purple alien named Tatanga, and Mario chases him across 12 levels to rescue her. Despite all these changes, Super Mario Land still plays like Mario. There's platforming, coins, enemies to stomp, and boss fights at the end of each level. And just like any other Mario game, it was a ton of fun. The game sold over 25 million copies worldwide and received glowing reviews, with critics praising how well Mario translated to a portable system. As long as you had enough light, that original Game Boy screen was brutal sometimes. Now let's move on to the next game. Okay, now this feels like a proper Mario game. When I play this on my GameStop Edition Chromatic, Mario is bigger, the enemies are bigger, and everything is easier to see. That alone is a massive improvement over the first game. For the rest of this video, I'll be playing the Super Game Boy and capturing the gameplay from there. What really stands out is how much this feels like a full Super Mario adventure. It even has 3 save slots, which is huge. I don't want to start from the beginning every time I play, so that's a big win. The challenges really ramps up once you reach Wario's castle. One of my favorite power-ups, besides Fire Mario, is Bunny Mario. Being able to hover by flapping his ears completely changes how you approach the game. And it feels essential when you're trying to reclaim your castle from Wario. I remember thinking as a kid that if I ever owned a Game Boy, this would be the Mario game I'd want. And yeah, I definitely remember the commercial.
Obey me, Wario. I am your master. Mario is your enemy.
The wicked imposter Wario has cast an evil spell over Mario Land.
Don't let Mario get the 6 golden coins. Don't let Mario reach the palace.
This is the biggest, most dangerous, most challenging Game Boy adventure yet.
Obey Wario. Destroy Mario.
Don't fall under Wario's evil spell in Super Mario Land 2, only on Game Boy.
3 years later, Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins arrived on the Game Boy, and it went places. Nintendo's R&D 1 returned with Gunpei Yokai, producing once again. This time, Hiroji Kiyotaki took over directing duties, later joined by Takahiko Hosokawa as co-director. Development ran from November 1991 to September 1992, about 10 months. Originally, the team wanted the game to feel completely unique, but they eventually realized it didn't really feel like Mario anymore. So they pivoted and based the design on Super Mario World, a decision that absolutely paid off. Super Mario Land 2 feels bigger, more refined, and introduced one of Nintendo's most iconic characters. The story picks up right after Super Mario Land. Mario is still in Sarasa Land when an evil creep takes over his castle. Yes, Mario has a castle on his own island called Mario Land. I have questions. That evil creep turns out to be Wario, making his first ever appearance. Jealous of Mario since childhood, Wario steals the castle and scatters 6 golden coins across the land. To get his home back, Mario has to collect them all and kick Wario out. Each zone contains 1 coin and can be accessed from the start via an overworld map. Gameplay sticks close to Super Mario World with vehicle stages gone and classic platforming front and center. It's fantastic. I never played this as a kid, but I completely understand the praise it received. The game sold over 11 million copies worldwide. And if you think this one was different, wait until you see the next game. This is a weird game. I wasn't expecting Wario to be the hero. If Mario was a car, Wario feels like a tank? Big, powerful, slow, and hard to stop. I love how large the sprite is, and once I got used to how Wario controls, I started having a ton of fun. Shoulder checking enemies, picking them up, and throwing them around never gets old. The power-up pots are great too, especially Dragon Wario. I didn't play this back in the day, but I definitely remember the commercial.
You're getting very greedy. You are me, Wario. You're very handsome. You have amazing powers. Plunder and pillage pirates' treasure. Bag up 1,000,000,000 coins. Buying me a castle bigger than Mario's. Repeat after me. I'm the bad guy in Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, where being bad is good and greed is good. Come and get it on Game Boy, greedy.
In 1994, Nintendo did something unexpected and made the villain the hero. Gunpei Yokoi returned as producer with Horaji Kiyotaki and Takehiko Hosokawa co-directing. Wario plays similarly to Mario but with a much more aggressive feel. He can shoulder charge, ground pound, and smash through blocks, making the game feel more about power than precision jumping. The story is completely different as well. There's no princess to save and no castle to reclaim. Wario just wants money. To get it, he travels to Kitchen Island to steal treasure from the brown sugar pirates and their leader, Captain Syrup? Depending how many coins you collect, Wario earns anything from a tiny house to an entire planet. Wario Land sold just over 5 million copies worldwide but received excellent reviews. Nintendo Life even called it one of the best platformers on the Game Boy. I never played it as a kid, of course, but playing it for this video made me understand why Wario became such a lasting character. And that brings us to the end of the Super Mario Land retrospective. I genuinely enjoyed playing all three games. The first one hits me hard with nostalgia. The second feels the most polished and fair, and the third completely won me over, even when I wanted to be Mario. What do you think? Did you play any of the Super Mario Land games? And which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Before we wrap up, I want to shout out my channel members, the Retro Warrior Knights, Mr. Postel, Retro Man Randy Savage, Mike's Gaming Gala, and Off Grid Arcade. Thank you for your support, and I'm lucky to call you my friends here on YouTube. Take care and remember, gaming is your road to adventure. Oh, and don't mind me, I'm just gonna play some Super Mario Land 3 again while the credits roll.